CoCo Johnson, your Lady of Wellness. Join me as I address topics in all things wellness, from mental health, social disparities, and education, advocating for those who suffer in silence. On this episode of the CoCo Johnson Show, we're going all the way to Las Vegas, Nevada to talk about wellness, fitness, and becoming an author.
My name is Dr. Trina Wiggs. I am a mother, grandmother, pediatrician, fitness professional, and author.
Awesome. Thank you for coming in today and talking with us about wellness and your profession.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
So you mentioned that you were a doctor. So what type of doctor are you exactly?
Yeah, so I'm a pediatrician. So I take care of children from birth until 18.
Wow. And how long have you been doing that?
Well, I started medical school in 1982, a long time ago, and I actually started practicing medicine in 1990.
Wow. So you've been at this for quite some time.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Awesome. So, and then you mentioned that you are also an author. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely, yes. I've written 3 books up to this point. This all started during COVID. And I've always had people in the past tell me, Trina, you need to write a book about how you stay fit. And I've had, requests from fellow classmates in college, family members. So I figured I had all this time on my hands during COVID. So I started writing my book the first book called KISS, Keep It Short and Simple for a Healthy, Sustainable Lifestyle. And after book number 1, I wrote a book called The Sugar Seduction, educating people about the harmful effects of sugar. And just here recently, I put out a book called The Sugar Attack. And it is the first book of a comic series that I'm designing for children, about the middle school age range, to educate our youth about health, wellness, fitness, and nutrition. And so my goal is, if we can get to these children at a young age, the goal is to help mitigate some of the chronic diseases that we see in adults, like high blood pressure, diabetes, and heart disease.
Awesome. So you notice right on that is something that needs to be attacked early in age, and so that we can make our children better productive adults when they get older and take their wellness into consideration. That's awesome. I commend you on that. Awesome.
Thank you.
So, and at what point in your career did you think that, the sugar thing? So we know COVID hit and everyone was talking about, let's get our health up in gear, which we should have been doing prior to COVID, but it really got serious during COVID. So that book about sugar, because that's one of those things that it's almost like it is an addiction. So what points did you, like go into to make you say, oh, let's attack it at this angle? What was your deciding factor?
Well, we all know sugar is addictive and it causes inflammation. Okay. And if you look at MRIs of the brain of people who eat a lot of sugar and those who are addicted to cocaine, they are very, very similar. And, being in my office, I would oftentimes go out into the waiting room and I'll see, parents giving their kids sodas and all our fruity drinks. And I'm like, wow. And if people really knew how much sugar they're consuming, they would be just flabbergasted. So the average woman should get no more than 6 grams of sugar a day. 6 teaspoons of sugar a day, or 24 grams of sugar a day. And for the average male, 9 teaspoons a day, or 36 grams of sugar a day. And if you look at a 12-ounce can of Coke, that one 12-ounce can of Coke has 38 or 39 grams of sugar. So that one Coke exceeds the daily allotment of sugar for either a man or a woman. And I've seen people drink multiple cans of soda, And so that's not even including the food you eat, the dessert you eat, and other beverages you may have. So I just thought it was imperative that people know, what really constitutes a daily allotment of sugar. And I also looked at certain restaurants. I took the top 25 restaurants in the United States. And I said, what are the best things to eat with regards to sugar and the worst things to eat? And there were some really eye-opening findings that I, came upon. I mean, there's some restaurants that had, for one serving of food, anywhere between 70 and 80 teaspoons of sugar. That's insane.
Yes.
So, I just wanted to educate people so they would know how much sugar they're consuming and all the complications that too much sugar can lead to, from obesity to diabetes to heart disease to cancer. The list is endless. So I just thought people needed to know, because as a society, we eat out a lot more
Yes.
than I used to eat out as a child.
Yes.
I mean, as a child, I remember maybe once a week, we would go out as a treat on Friday night. But now people eat out, 2 and 3 times a day. They don't even cook at home.
Yes.
So and restaurants are notorious for having too much sugar, salt, and fat in their meals.
Yes.
So we need to get back to how we used to do things in the old days, which means eating more at home.
Yes. So you mentioned something key point, old days. So let's go back a little bit. Our
Yes.
parents, our grandparents, and those of African American descent were in the fields and eating what they could as far as what was left over from what they had picked for the day, right? And so
Correct.
fast forward a little bit, we took those things and we created what is known as soul food. So soul
Yes.
food, the yams and all of the other stuff, those type of things people are, used to having at a certain period of time. And again, fast forward when COVID hit, everybody was starting to look at these different things. Everybody's really paying attention to the labels. Everybody was really paying attention to how much they were putting in their body. A lot of people went plant-based. A lot of people changed their diets. So I say all this to say, what do you recommend as far as someone that has grown up in that culture, as far as learning how to eat a certain way because that's all they had, that's all that they knew how to do and cook and feed their families? What do you say to those people that have that background who want to change but don't have any other way of understanding how to go about changing since they've been eating that way for so long?
Well, I tell everyone, my Hispanic patients, you can still eat your cultural food, soul food. You can still eat your cultural food. The key is changing the ingredients.
Mhm.
Okay. So I still eat. Last night I had black eyed peas. I had sweet potatoes, and I, cooked some kale with it. So, but the thing is, what do you put in there? I don't put in there ham hocks or whatever. You can put like liquid smoke. You can put some other thing I use is you can either use C-tan, you can use it's another I'm blanking on the word of it, but it's like a vegetable sausage.
Mhm.
And I can't remember the name off the top of my head, but you can find substitutes, okay, that are healthier. In
Okay,
fact, in the back of
wait.
my
What's C-tan? Did you say C-tan?
Yeah, SEITAN. It's just I think it's almost like a gluten type thing that you can put in that has a meat kind of flavor to it.
Okay.
And I wish I could. It's on the top of my head. It's another type of thing. But recently, I've been using liquid smoke. That's easy. It's just comes in a bottle. You pour that in, and it gives it that kind of smoky flavor.
Yes, my mom
So
used to
that's like
put that in the spinach.
Yeah, exactly. So I put that in my black eyed peas, and I just bake my sweet potato and stir fry my kale with some garlic. So it's not about changing your entire diet. It's the ingredients that you put in there, or even the spices you use. Decrease the amount of salt you use. Why not, use some rosemary, some thyme, oregano, basil, some of the, you know, the spices that are helpful from a medical standpoint, from as far as health. So it's just re-educating people on how they can prepare their cultural foods in a healthy way.
Okay. Awesome. So let's talk about sugar in general. So what I mean by that, there are, the regular sugar that you can get tons of it for about $1. And then you
Yeah,
natural sugars, like what's in a fruit. And then you have substitute and plant-based sugars. So
right,
we all know that the quantity of the sugar that's bad for you, well, most of us should know this.
right.
That is bad for us. It's easier to obtain. It's in everything, and a lot of people use it as a preservative. So, could you
Mhm.
talk a little bit about the difference between either of the ones that I just mentioned?
Well, sugar, table sugar, brown sugar, agave, all sugar is sugar.
Okay.
It's going to break down to sugar and cause the same effect.
Okay.
So, you know, brown sugar is not better than white sugar.
Mhm.
But, and with artificial sugars, the only one that I've been told, I took recently took a course through Cornell, is the stevia is good for the stevia plant, but the artificial based sugars are not good. Okay, like your aspartame and other sugars, like added sugars. But sugar from fruit is good, and I'll tell you why. Because it's accompanied by fiber, like, you know, apple, you have the skin health. It's accompanied by antioxidants and phytochemicals, other helpful ingredients that are good for you. So sugar from fruit is okay because it has those other factors that are beneficial.
Okay. Cool. So, as I was reading your bio, you were mentioning that some inspirations behind some of your drive was some things that happened with your father, and his
Yes.
illnesses, and your mother is your inspiration. So that
Yes.
encouraged you to become a pediatrician, or you just, those type of life experiences or journeys helped you decide which direction you wanted to go in life. You give us
Yes.
some insight on that?
Yeah, so back in the early 70s, my dad was diagnosed with a terminal illness. He had some form of leukemia, and my mother was relentless. She went to work. She was reading. I would tag behind her when she went to the library to do research. We would go to health fairs, and just seeing her drive. She bought a wheatgrass juicer back in the 70s. That was unheard of. Now, you know, people, you know, drink wheatgrass all the time. So we had this wheatgrass juicer. She grew wheatgrass. She juiced that and vegetables back then, which was, you know, she was ahead of her time, and trying to help my dad get better. And her motivation and her just drive inspired me to want to become a physician so I can help people get past their problems and to educate people. So she was the driving force for me to become a physician. Now, when I got to high school, I had the opportunity to shadow a neurosurgeon, got to see brain surgery, and I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool. And fast forward, when I got to undergrad at Stanford, I met a wonderful mentor by the name of Dr. Woody Myers. And in actuality, he lives in your state of Indiana.
Wow.
Exactly. So he lives there. And I think he was a health commissioner of Indiana and for the state of New York at some point. So he was my mentor, helping me navigate the pre-med curriculum, whether it was application process, interviewing, all those skills necessary to become a physician. He was very instrumental. So those three things pretty much guided me to the path where I am today.
All right. So you also mentioned some things that was quite interesting, and a lot of my viewers would be appreciative in knowing some of the steps that you've taken as far as the idea of transforming your life. So you said basically making it simple. How do one that wants to get started, how would they go about making it simple? Because it is overwhelming. And once you do start, you can start off strong and hard, but you can get discouraged if that weight scale does not tip just the way you want it to, or
Right, right.
if you want to just, you just want to change. Can you give us some small steps that we can take in order to go in the right direction?
Well, you hit the, that's why I call the book Keep It Short and Simple for a Healthy, Sustainable Lifestyle. Oftentimes, people, it's overwhelming. And what happens, I call it paralysis by analysis. They look at it and they say, they are so overwhelmed that they don't do anything.
Right.
They're just, they're afraid, right? So as far as fitness goes, you start off small. You don't have to go to the gym. You can do things right at home, correct?
Yes.
And like I said, I tell people my prescription is 15 minutes twice a day or 10 minutes 3 times a day. The American Council of Exercise tells us we need 150 minutes of exercise, moderate exercise per week. So that equates to 30 minutes, 5 days a week. But I break it down even further. So 15 minutes twice a day or 10 minutes 3 times a day. And it doesn't have to be this, you're running a marathon. I do in my home, there's a 7-minute workout app.
Mm-hmm.
It's on your phone, it's free. Okay, and it gives you a total body workout, including strength and cardio. If people have stairs in their home, that's the best tool you can have. You can turn on your music and go up and down the stairs. You don't have to run, okay? So it's all about doing things that are easy at home with no equipment. You can even dance. I've done, Zoom where I've danced with people on, like I said, on a show like this, and for like only 10 or 15 minutes. I've also created a chair aerobics routine because people have issues with their knees or maybe have other joint issues. And like myself, I have joint issues from being in gymnastics for years. And it's just all about movement for a small amount of time. In fact, Dr. Ralph Paffenbarger, who was an epidemiologist at Stanford, talked about exercise is cumulative. You don't need to do it all at one time. And I think people have that misconception. I got to do a half hour or an hour, or it's not going to work. Yes. But like I said, if you can divide it up into digestible chunks throughout the day, it's easy to wrap your mind around that concept versus a huge block of time.
Oh, those are great advice and tips, because I, for one, I have to get it in early in the morning or I'm not going to do it. So I think it's more or less what you were saying, but it's all customizable according to whomever's lifestyle as well. So those are great tips. Awesome.
Exactly.
I'm going to take a brief, quick second to bring in our sponsors, and then we'll come back with my next question. How about that?
Sure.
Great. Today, we want to recognize Rosa Sharon, All Naturals, changing lives 1 tablespoon at a time. Today, we're recognizing their chaga tea. The chaga is a mushroom, and the mushroom is great and beneficial. It has a lot of antioxidants in it. Again, changing lives 1 tablespoon at a time. Rosa Sharon, All Naturals. All right, so we're back, and we want to talk about some of your fitness goals that you started off with. So you said that people always wanted to know, what were you doing? We talked a little bit about small, simple steps. So what are your favorite exercises or routine or mindfulness routines that you have that you plan in your daily routine?
So yes, first of all is meditation in the morning to jumpstart your day. And I like using the Insight Timer app. And the reason I like that app, it uses a gong instrument that helps keep me focused, because oftentimes I'm sure there's other people who can attest to what I'm saying. Your mind is going 1,000 different directions. What I got to do tomorrow, what I got to do this afternoon. And that gong instrument helps me focus on the task at hand, silencing the mind so that I can, truly have an effective session of meditation. So really like the Insight Timer app. And I do that for about 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how much time that I have. Then I get up and I do my workout. So my workout will consist of either the 7-minute app, because it's on my phone. I don't have to go to a gym where I have to drive, find a park, get out and walk to the gym, get in there, and my favorite equipment is being utilized. By that time, I could have already done my workout at home. And you know, the most common reason people say they don't have time to work out is that they don't have time to work out. But I'll save you time if you do it at home. 7-minute app, phenomenal. So you do like, say you do jumping jacks for 30 seconds. Then you have a 10-second break. Then you do push-ups. So it takes you through a series of about 12 to 14 exercises, which is great. Sometimes I'll ride my bike, okay? And it's great for my knees since I have bad knees. And most mornings I do my chair aerobics. I created a chair aerobics routine that has 5 songs, and we just go through it. And it's not just something that's easy. I have people walking off the chair, doing push-ups on the floor. We do jump jacks. It's very high energy. So you will get a good workout. And one other thing I want to mention, working out to music is great. There's been studies that shown, especially looked at seniors who danced and worked out to music had over a 5-year period had decreased dementia and decrease in cognitive decline. So why not put on your favorite music, do your exercise, you get a win-win. You get mental, health improvement and physical improvement.
Yes. Awesome. So that all sounds great for the adults. Let's talk about these children that you're interacting with.
Yes.
And you're trying to get on a new path of life and get them started early. So
Yes.
what kind of tips do you have for like parents or teens, tweens, and all in between as far as getting their workout in and thinking about the things that they should be putting into their bodies?
Right. So I used to do these fitness and nutrition camps for kids. And as far as the workout session, I would make it had to be fun. So we had a circuit, right? So at one station you did, say, jumping jacks. One station you rode the bike. So there was a station. I had flashing lights going, like we're at a disco. We had music going, and the kids just had a blast. They were laughing and talking. 1 minute on each station. And so we did it for 20 minutes, and no one felt like, oh God, do we have to finish this? It was fun. So you have to make it fun. And I think you need to integrate it into their lives. Like have them, walk to school with a parent walking. And when you're walking, power walk or do it in intervals. Say for 30 seconds, we're going to walk at say 30% capacity. Then for 20 seconds, we're going to walk at 60% capacity. Then for the last, 10 seconds of that minute, we're going to just go all out at 90%. And do that. I talk about the 30-20-10 method in my KISS book. And do that little game while you're walking to school. And if it takes 10 minutes to walk to school, you've already done a third of your workout for the day, right? So when you come home, maybe the child rides their bike, right? And you can, or maybe you guys walk around the community after dinner. So there's different ways you can integrate, fun ways of integrating fitness into the plan. And now as far as nutrition goes, what we did at the camp, I would have a child bring in their favorite, meal. Somebody brought in Kraft macaroni and cheese, okay? I got the healthier version at say like Trader Joe's or Sprouts or Whole Foods. And I taught them how to read a food label.
Yes.
So I had a big sticky pad on the wall, and I had the Kraft versus the healthier version. We looked at the cholesterol, we looked at the fat, the sodium, the sugar, all those things. And we said, at the end of the day, I said, which one is better for you looking at this label? And at the end of the whole camp, they were able to identify what's good and what's not good. But then the ticket came when we had to do taste testing. So I would actually cook the healthier version and like, oh, Dr. Trina, this is not bad. I can do this. So at the end of the sessions, the camp, I created a list of foods that the kids enjoyed so the parents could see. Because, we're creatures of habit.
Yes.
We don't want to waste money. So maybe we want to try something, but it's like, nah, I don't know. But now they know my kids like these foods, so I'm going to go ahead and buy them.
Oh, nice. And so you found that the parents are more inclined to go and purchase those items and make them at home on a more normal basis?
Absolutely, 100%. If that kid said, Mom, this was great, that parent's going to go get it. And then what was even a domino effect, the kids were inspired to go shopping. And
Mm.
the parents would pick up an item and the kid would go, let me see the label. I don't think we should get this. So
Yes.
kids inspired the parents, and those parents in turn spoke to their siblings, the aunts and uncles, and they made changes. So it was like a domino effect.
Nice. That's awesome. So
Thank
you mentioned nutritional labels. A lot of people don't understand how to read those, and some people
you.
get overwhelmed. And even for you to be able to teach children how to read them, that's phenomenal because a lot of adults don't even understand how what's good, what's bad. I was taught by a nutritionist that anything as far as the bad things like the cholesterol, the sodium,
Yes.
sugar, anything 20% and above, I should rethink it. Is that
Well,
is that true?
well, for me personally, I have what in my book Kiss, I
Mhm.
talk about the 10% rule. So
Okay.
if you look at the percent daily recommended value,
Mhm.
where you see the percent, anything over 10% for like your cholesterol, your fat, your saturated fat, your sodium, your sugar, anything above 10%, not good.
Mhm.
But for your fiber and your vitamins, you want those above 10%. So just keep it simple, 10% rule.
So 10% across the board or 10% because everything can fluctuate there a little
Uh,
bit.
I mean,
So
if it's 1 or 2%, plus or minus 1 to 2%, I'm not, you know,
Mhm.
gonna say anything. But in general, for the bad items, your cholesterol, your salt, your sugar, and your fats, you want that to keep that less than 10%. Your good things, your fiber and your vitamins, you want that above. And you can do a quick scan. As soon as you look at it, if you see any percent, you know, above 10%, you better take a look. It's easier to spot 10% too.
Okay.
So yes.
Awesome. So with that being said, so as you were mentioning, a lot of people nowadays are going out to eat.
Yes.
And nutritional facts are there, but they're not there. It's not like everything is set in stone on each menu. So when
Correct.
a parent is out of time or needing some additional assistance feeding their children, what do you recommend them doing if they're out and about? Do you have any type of tips there?
If they're, out and about and not at home.
Mhm.
Yes, I recommend the Happy Cow app.
Okay.
Happy Cow, yes. And it'll tell you healthy restaurants in your zip code. So if you're out of state and versus you just going to the nearest thing, put
Mhm.
in that zip code and find what is a healthy, it'll tell you the healthiest options in your area. To me, that was a game changer.
Wow.
And you're able to control
Mhm.
what you eat.
Oh wow. I've never heard of that app. There's so many apps out here and it's
Oh,
so
it's too numerous to count.
right. And I've never heard of that, especially let's say you're at Disney World. Will it'll pretty much go there as well, or it's just a general app? Do you know? Like something more
It's
specific if they're out in amusement park or something like that. Does
well,
it have
they're
information?
anywhere.
Okay.
Yes, it tells you if we put the zip code in there, it'll
Okay.
give you the address and the name,
Mhm.
and you can see. Okay, fine. Let me look at the website and see if this is something that we want to eat.
Mhm. Okay. Well, that's good to know. I've never even heard that. I'm gonna have to look that up, make sure we
Oh,
post
absolutely.
your
It's been a game changer.
yes. So for we have a couple more minutes left.
Okay.
I just want to touch on like your drive as far as what makes you happy as far as your pediatrician, your author, you're
Yes.
educating the community about healthy habits and tips. And you're also a mother and grandmother. So you have a lot of hats that you are filling. But what brings you the most joy throughout the day when you're interacting with people?
Oh, seeing people who have um, listened to my advice
Mhm.
and made sustainable changes.
Nice.
That that makes my day. I have a niece who was battling weight issues. She had high blood pressure on 3 different antihypertensives, and she's in her early 30s.
Wow.
We we had a good conversation. I mean, like 2 hours. We, charted out a plan, what she needs to do. And I'm happy to say, after a couple of months, she's only on one antihypertensive and she's lost 30 pounds.
Awesome.
So that is what brings me joy. I mean, that's it for me. And I've had patients who've made sustainable changes. My sister, when she went plant-based I think about 8 years ago, she went to her doctor about 10 years ago. Oh, cholesterol is a little bit elevated, blood pressure a little bit. She made those changes. She goes back to the doctor. He goes, what did you do? Your numbers are good.
Mm-hmm.
Your weight is good. So that brings me joy when I can help somebody else lead their best life.
Awesome. Now, early on, we had a conversation and we were talking
Yes,
about mushrooms. And I want to just touch on it just a little bit because you believe in the
sure.
power of functional mushrooms. And
Yes.
what I find is trying to bridge that gap between the cultures. So, what have been your experience with using functional mushrooms as far as using them as in a device as to bringing yourself more healthier accomplishments?
Right. So as you know, there's tons of them. There's
Yeah.
chaga, there's lion's mane, cordyceps. There's a broad variety of mushrooms, and they're adaptogenic. I mean, helping just balance. I mean, especially live in this hectic society we do. Stress levels, help balancing that with anxiety, a lot of mental health issues, trying to stabilize mental health problems just in general. So I put it in my smoothie in the morning. So it's just another thing to help balance,
Mhm.
your life in general.
Yes. So I am an advocate of functional mushrooms. I love
Yeah.
chaga. I love lion's mane. I'm getting into cordyceps, and also turkey tail. Um,
Yes.
those things have I noticed a difference within my focus, within the way I do different things, within my skin, within a lot of different areas, and just trying to educate people because everyone sees, TikTok or they see the
Right. Right. Right.
advertisements for Rise, but they don't generally, I find that they don't generally know exactly what they're doing. It's just something really catchy at the time. So I always
And
want to
why
bring
not?
those things to
Yes.
light. Go ahead.
Right. And why not, if you're drinking coffee, why not substitute that with a mushroom coffee?
Mm-hmm.
It especially helps with focus and clarity. I remember even the like turkey tail
Mm-hmm.
for breast cancer. And I can't remember I forget the singer, her name from Australia. She used turkey tail for years for breast cancer. And her husband attributes that her longevity, even though she recently expired, she lived with it for 20 something years. So just educating yourself, look up functional mushrooms, see what they do. Look at each one of them. Lion's mane for focus, for mental clarity. Look this up and try it. And it's especially, as a close coffee drinkers, why not try a mushroom coffee?
Yes. I wanted to bring that to light because so many people think that when we're talking about mushrooms, we're either talking about a pizza mushroom or we're talking about something that you want to get high with. And I just want
Right, right.
to light that you are a doctor and you believe in some of these holistic things,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
and you've
Absolutely.
gotten results from it. So that's awesome.
Exactly.
I'm glad we were able to touch on that today. But we had
In
a great
fact, I had
conversation about it. Go ahead.
In fact, I had lion's mane I had a vegetable curry dish, and I had some lion's mane in my curry dish last night.
Awesome. Yeah, I had my lion's mane today, my turkey tail, and my chaka today. I do not leave the house
Okay,
without it. It's awesome.
excellent, excellent.
Yeah, so we just got a few more minutes. We're getting ready to wrap this thing up, but I appreciate all the wealth and information that you have provided us today. Is there any other thing you want to leave our audience with?
Yes, the key thing for let's look at fitness.
Yes.
Everyone has to be fit at some level.
Mhm.
My level of fitness is not the same as yours, but everyone needs to get in that 150 minutes per week. How you get that in, it's up to you. The key thing, like I said, my prescription, 10 minutes 3 times a day, 15 minutes twice a day. Stay at home, use your stairs, try the 7-minute app. Things that are not expensive, that does not require equipment or things that will cause you to be overwhelmed, right?
Yes.
So that's for, and remember, exercise is cumulative. It does not have to be done all at one time. For nutrition, the most research studied diet is the Mediterranean diet that incorporates fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, whole grains, and with meat, salmon, tuna, mackerel, rainbow trout, those are omega-rich fish. And omega-rich fish is good for your brain, your heart, and your joints. So incorporate that, try to eat the Mediterranean way. And, that's pretty much how I live my life. And one thing I start my day off with, I jumpstart my day every morning with a smoothie that incorporates vegetables and fruit. And I throw some of the mushrooms in there as well. But I try to get what I call Trina's top foods of the day. Whether I put my kale, blueberry, pineapple, banana, flaxseed, I'll
Mm,
rotate that with chia seeds. I'll
yes.
throw some walnuts in there, right?
I love
So when you put
it.
all this in there, you feel okay, you feel energized. I've jump started my day, so those are my tips.
All right. Well, those are some helpful and insightful tips. I thank you for joining us today. We love to hear from you and all the things that you have going on. And you are very insightful and helpful. And I hope that the audience today learned a lot from what you have to provide for us today. I want to thank you for joining us on the CoCo Johnson Show.